Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. The first DLC for Outward called the Soroborians is now released on PC. Console players will have to wait until 7th of July though. I made a tips video for this DLC and I recommend watching that first if you didn't already. In that video I promised that I'll showcase all the skills from the new skill trainers in the DLC, the Hex Mage and the Speedster. So without wasting more time, let's start with the Speedster. The Speedster trainer is located in Hermatan and it's pretty hard to miss. There are some really interesting skills in this tree that can be useful for basically any build. This skill trainer introduces a brand new mechanic in combat called Alertness. The first active skill that you can learn is called Probe, and it's the main skill that generates your alertness levels. Each successful hit that you do with this skill will increase your alertness level by 1, and the damage of this skill as well. But when you get hit, your alertness level will decrease by 1 point. There are 4 alertness levels in total, and with each level, the icon of probe will change as well as your attack animation. Level 4 alertness gives you this jumping and spinning attack, which is really cool and it does quite a bit of damage. You can use the probe skill with any melee weapon, not just the fist weapons from the DLC. But I would say that probe skill definitely works better with faster weapons because you want to max out your alertness level as fast as possible. You can also craft or buy potions and food that will affect your alertness levels. Probe is a really interesting skill and you can basically use it for any melee build if you wish. The first passive skill in the Speedster tree is called Efficiency. It increases your maximum stamina by 25, so it's pretty straightforward. The last skill that doesn't require a breakthrough point is called Metabolic Purge. It increases your corruption resistance by 10% and you should probably pick this skill up as soon as possible unless you plan to use the corruption to your advantage. The breakthrough point is called Daredevil, and it reduces all skill cooldowns by 10% per alertness level. You can probably see the potential of using the probe skill and the effect from this breakthrough point with skills from different trainers. It's a great way of reducing the cooldown of stronger spells, but you do need to spend 1 breakthrough point. The first stronger spell from the Speedster tree is called Prime. It removes 2 alertness levels, but it will instantly reset the cooldown of your next skill used in the next 3 minutes. This pretty much works for all the skills in the game with the cooldown. So for example you can cast Prime and then you can use 2 Predator Leaps in a row. It's definitely a great utility spell. The next skill in the tree is called Unearing Greed. This is kinda rare because you can learn 2 stronger active spells from the tree at the same time. You don't have to choose between this skill and Prime, which is great. Just grab them both. Unearing Greed will basically make you immune to 1 hit for 20 seconds, but it will spend 1 alertness point. And we came to the last 2 passive skills in the tree. You will need to make a choice here, you can't get them both. Blitz skill increases your sprinting speed by 5% and running attack damage by 10% per alertness level. Anticipation skill increases physical protection stat by 2 per alertness level. You should consider anticipation only if you desperately need more defense. But I personally would recommend Blitz, especially because of the increased damage on the running attack. And that will pretty much conclude the Speedster tree, now let's move on. Hex Mage trainer is in Sorobor Academy in Hermatan. The first ability that you can learn is called Jinx. It inflicts a random hex debuff on the target. While you can use this ability on its own and randomly increase the damage of 1 element, this ability is best used when you combine it with other Hex Mage abilities. The next ability in this skill tree doesn't work without Jinx. It triggers a related reaction in all nearby enemies afflicted with a hex. So, for example, if you inflict a lightning debuff with Jinx, when you use Torment, the target will be struck by lightning. The effect from Torment will change based on the debuff. The first passive skill in the tree is called Nightmares. It reduces the max mana burn from sleeping by 25% and it reduces max stamina burn recovery by 25%. It doesn't matter what kind of a build you're playing, definitely get this skill, especially if you're using mana. It's really a no-brainer. The breakthrough point for the Hex Mage is called Bloodlust. For every death around the caster, you recover 5 max health, mana and stamina burn. It's a fairly useful and interesting passive effect. And we came to the first big choice you have to make in this skill tree. We have a Blood Sigil spell and Rupture. Blood Sigil works similar to Sigil of Wind and Sigil of Ice. You can combine it with different spells for greater effect. In order to cast it, you will need a Darkstone and when you cast it, your corruption will increase by 5%. Each spell that you can combine with a sigil will increase your corruption, so be aware of that. Some of the spells that you can combine with a sigil are Mana Push and Conjure. Mana Push turns into this red projectile, but Conjure does something really interesting. It seems like it increases the overall effect of the Blood Sigil, judging by the slight visual change. If you don't want to experiment with the Blood Sigil, you can go with Rupture. This ability detonates all hexes on nearby enemies and all souls for related damage. So, for example, you can go around and use the Jinx ability on everyone and just detonate them with Rupture. If you use Reveal Soul on dead humans, you can also detonate them with Rupture. Rupture is not a bad choice at all, but the Blood Sigil has more depth. Both of these abilities can be used effectively in certain builds. And the last two abilities in the Hex Mage tree are Cleanse and Lockwell's Revelation. You should definitely go with Cleanse if you choose to learn the Blood Sigil. Cleanse requires 50% corruption and a mana stone. It also creates a Dark Stone, the item that you need for casting the Blood Sigil. Cleanse removes 30% corruption and you suffer extreme bleeding and 65 decay damage. This ability does a lot of things at once, but like I said, you should definitely pick it up if you have the Blood Sigil ability. Lockwell's Revelation increases elemental damage by 15% when tired and 30% when very tired. It's a pretty straightforward ability and probably not a bad choice if you don't sleep immediately after you get tired a bit. And sleeping burns your mana, so I guess you're avoiding sleeping whenever you can if your character uses a lot of spells. And that would cover all the skills from the Speedster and the Hex Mage. I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, pressing the thumbs up button would mean a lot. And what do you guys think about the Soroborians DLC so far? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content and click on the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. Special thanks to my Patreons, and if you as well want to become one of them, all the links are in the description. Patreon is definitely the best place to directly support my work, and every contribution is highly appreciated. That will be all, and I'll see you in the next one.